Here tonight, the execution of a Georgia man convicted of killing two Cobb County women now being delayed.
Atlanta News First anchor Joe Gorcho is at the First Alert breaking news desk. Joe?
Tracy, Blair, in a hearing today, the State Board of Pardons and Paroles decided to suspend the execution after an application for clemency for Stacey Humphreys. Humphreys was convicted of killing two Cobb County real estate agents back in 2003 and subsequently sentenced to death. Now, attorneys representing Humphreys have filed a motion in Fulton County Superior Court arguing that two of the 5 board members have conflicts of interest. Now, the 2 members in question are Wayne Bennett and Kimberly McCoy. Now, the motion states that Bennett served as the sheriff of Glenn County when Humphreys was tried there and was responsible for transporting Humphreys to and from court. As for McCoy, the attorneys argue that she became close with the victims' families during her time as a victim advocate for Cobb County while Humphreys was on trial. The petition requests that the board be stopped from proceeding with the clemency application until the 2 board members with alleged conflicts of interest have been replaced. We'll have more coming up tonight on Atlanta News First, Tracy, at 10 and 11. For now, back to you.